2, 1. Welcome back into the Tiger Kickoff Show, live from Dallas, Texas. Harrison Batnick, Wendell Shepard, Adam Ryerson, Brandon Haynes. Our final show of the 2023 season, and we're on location, guys. How are we doing?
Good. Doing well. Excited to be in Texas. It's funny seeing y'all here.
Yeah,
We're in your home territory.
Wendell's hometown. My first time in Texas. Enjoying it so far.
It's a joy. Had a flat tire on the way down. We're all good now, though, so we're chilling.
It's been a smooth trip so far. We are just one day away from the Cotton Bowl between Missouri and Ohio State over at AT&T Stadium. The Tigers are going to seek for their 11th win. It'll be their most since the 2013 season. A lot of different moving parts of this game. Let's start on the Missouri side of things. No opt-outs, just a couple major injuries. Chad Bailey, Teron Hopper, and Ennis Rakestraw Jr. out with injuries. Wendell, how can the Tiger defense still play a strong game against a good Ohio State offense without those three?
Not that you want those guys out, but I do think, your experience earlier in the season when those guys were missing time is going to help you here because, you guys who are playing in Chuck Hicks, Tristan Newson, Dre Norwood, Shamar McNeil, those guys all got significant playing time in other games where those guys missed. So I think they'll be all right. You obviously want to have Tyron Hopper and Ennis Rakestraw out there, especially Rakestraw, who's missing a previous Dallas Bowl game. You really want, you heard from him, he's not out there, but I think Mizzou will be all right there.
Adam, the Ohio State quarterback, Devin Brown. We talked a little about our show a couple weeks ago. He's making his first career start. The Missouri guys told me yesterday that they're preparing as if it's any other quarterback, any other game. What's the mentality for this defense have to be in order to stop Devin Brown and the Buckeye offense?
Well, I think it's funny that Something to Prove still has a meaning today because they've gotten hurt by running quarterbacks all year long. Max Brown, another backup quarterback, another backup Brown, he almost won the game for Florida, and I got to ask D-Rob yesterday, what are you going to do differently this time around? Because he took a lot of self-accountability after the game, saying, this was my fault. If I think I'm as good as I think I am, I need to be able to make those plays. I can't get beat on the outside, can't get stiff-armed by a quarterback, all that kind of deal. So they're just coming into this game, like you said, same game plan as any other quarterback, but they're really putting an emphasis on staying their assignment and making sure that the quarterback can't beat them with his legs.
Brandon, sticking on the defensive side. We've talked all season long the ups and downs of the defense, but it's been much better in the final month of the year. Should there be any worry about not playing a game for just about a month since the Arkansas game where they won in a blowout fashion? Should there be any rust versus rest debate against this defense?
There could be maybe a little bit of rust versus rest debate, but you got to look at this, that this Mizzou defense is healthier than they have been in a while. They've had a little chance to kind of reset. It goes the same for the Ohio State offense, but Mizzou's defense, we saw what it can be coming off of byes. And just how electric it can be, especially late in the season. We saw what they did in Tennessee, an electric run game. They kind of shut that down. Ohio State kind of counters with a similar style run game, just with their ability to just kind of work through the middle of the field. So I think if they're able to kind of just neutralize that, stop the power runs and stuff like that, then they'll be set.
Missouri's offense, Wendell, it's been heavy Luther Burden III, heavy Theo Weiss, heavy Cody Schrader. The Ohio State Buckeyes have the #1 pass defense in all of college football. What is the key to consistently moving the ball on them?
I think you're going to have to do well in early downs. You want to stay ahead of the chains. I think you don't want to have, a short run get stuffed or a screen pass that, falls incomplete and where you're looking at second, third, and long situations. So I think if you can establish the run early on and even just get a couple screen passes, slants, or short gains, short passes, stacked yardage, that's going to help you stay ahead of the chains.
Ollie Gordon in Oklahoma State's bowl game against Texas A&M went for about 113 yards, I think was the final. Cody Schrader needs just under 200 to surpass, become the leading rusher in all of college football in the 2023 season, all likely. Is there any chance that he can maybe have a huge game like that and really a hero moment and his storybook college football career?
Yeah, well, if all you need is a little under 200 yards, then it can't be that hard to do, right? But no, I don't think so. There has only been one team that has rushed for over 200 yards collectively against Ohio State, and that was Rutgers, and they lost the game by 20. This Ohio State defense is, I believe, third in the nation in opponents' yards per game, second in points allowed per game. They've only given up 13 touchdowns on the season. It's going to be hard to beat them, and I don't think anybody. If Cody Schrader has almost 200 yards or 200 yards, then Mizzou's probably going to win this game. But I just don't see that as a realistic outcome, at least for him to rush for almost 200 yards. I think you're going to need a much more balanced approach, and I think you could see a lot of Brady Cook running the football in this game if they need another dimension on the ground.
You mentioned Brady Cook, Brandon. He told us the other day that 10 years ago he was in the basement in his Wentzville home watching the Cotton Bowl. Never thought he would actually be the starting quarterback in this game for his dream team, Missouri Tigers. What do you think this moment means for Brady, and how can he kind of seize it and really leave a signature moment in all of Missouri football history?
Yeah, I think obviously this moment probably is surreal for Brady. Just having the ability to chat with his family earlier this year before the St. Louis game, you can tell how spirited he was to play in that game. And now he has a chance to obviously do it on the grander stage here with the Cotton Bowl, where he's kind of watched and seen that through. Basically, I think Brady Cook just needs to kind of utilize his strengths and just his ability to game manage. We see that he doesn't put the ball in harm's way often. He can use his legs to kind of create kind of plays out of that. And I think if he uses those two talents against a very good Ohio State defense, he can at least do enough to kind of put Missouri in a position to win. We've seen what Brady Cook can do when he doesn't turn the ball over, when he kind of finds those passing lanes, stuff like that. He's got playmakers out there with Luther Burden, Theo Weiss especially, where you put up contested catch opportunities, you have an opportunity to win. So I just think he needs to utilize his strengths and he'll be fine.
What are the key matchups we're looking out for in this game window? I'll start with you.
What you mentioned earlier, I think it's going to have to be Cody Schrader in the run game against the Ohio State defense. I think when Mizzou's been at its best, it's been because they've been able to run the ball well. Even in games where Brady Cook was having a good day through the air, they had that running dimension. So I think if they're able to run the ball, that's going to be a big plus.
Yeah, I'll go with the other running back. I'll go Travion Henderson. Chuck Hicks said that he thinks he's the best running back that Mizzou's faced this year. A lot of praise from the defenders. Chris Abrams-Drain gave him his flowers. With no Marvin Harrison and a backup quarterback getting his first start, Ohio State's probably going to lean on that run a lot. And I mean, they still have Emeka Egbuka, but Carnell Tate is a freshman wide receiver, 5-star, number 1 wide receiver in the class of 2023 for Ohio State. Really excited to see him play. But Travion Henderson is going to have to be what Ohio State's offense runs through. And if he isn't finding success on the ground, then Mizzou's going to have Ohio State's going to have a lot of problem moving the ball, and they're going to get stuck behind the chains and put Devin Brown in obvious passing situations. And for a first-time starter, that's not what you want.
Brandon, what do you have your eyes on?
I have Mizzou's red zone offense against Ohio State's red zone defense. I think you look at it, as Adam said, 13 touchdowns allowed by Ohio State all year. Mizzou, number 1 red zone offense in the country. I think you got to, if you're Mizzou, you got to score in those situations. You can't settle for 3. You got to get 7. So I think that's just the biggest area where you can't leave points on the board, especially in a game like this against an Ohio State team that you thought would have more opt-outs, doesn't, and they're going to be motivated to play because they want to avenge their loss to Michigan.
Mine is Kirby Moore against Jim Knowles, Ohio State's defensive coordinator, against Missouri's offensive coordinator. I think these are the 2 best coordinators in all of college football. The numbers speak for themselves on both sides. It's going to be a chess match between those two, especially with the month prepared. These are 2 very smart football-minded guys. It's going to be interesting to see, if Missouri has some tricks dialed up, if Knowles has some nice defensive schemes for a Missouri team with a month to prepare. Our final game pick segment of the year. Wendell, you've been picking the Tigers a lot this year. You picked them to beat Georgia. You picked them to beat Tennessee. You picked them to upset Ohio State too.
I think I am. I think, despite what Ohio State may be saying, I think Mizzou has a lot more to play for. There's a lot more motivation. We learned last night Ohio State is barely using half of its allotted tickets. There's not as much motivation here. I think Mizzou, and given the guys that Ohio State will be missing, I think Mizzou has a slight advantage. I think it's gonna be a very close game, probably low scoring. But I think I'm giving Mizzou the edge there.
Wendell took the words directly out of my mouth. That was the stat that I was going to use with the ticket allotment. Yeah, I think Mizzou's going to have the fan support behind them. I think that there's going to be a little bit of, I'm not going to say home field advantage just because it is going to be a 50-50 split still almost because of the number of tickets that are allowed for each team. But this whole season has felt like a turning point for Mizzou in their football program. And with everything that they've done this year, I just think that this is the final step that they need to take to be able to get back on track of the early 2000s, of the early 2010s, late 2000s, and just go back to being that dominant and staple program with 14-team playoff this year or next year. They're looking to be in that, and they're looking to be getting a home game hosted at Faroe Field.
Brandon, are you going to mention ticket allotment too, or
ticket allotment's a big thing. Theo Weiss told me yesterday that he's expecting a 60-40 Mizzou crowd. And him being from Texas, I know it's going to mean a lot to kind of play there. I just think Mizzou I have Mizzou winning. I think that they'll be able to neutralize Ohio State's run game. I feel like with Devin Brown as inexperience, he's had some accuracy issues even when he's been in there. I mean, it's 22 pass attempts, so you really don't have much there. But I think his experience hasn't really shown against premier talent. Mizzou's going to have a defense ready to play. I know D-Rob's going to want to have one more game there to kind of leave his legacy at Mizzou. And so I just think with everything around it, these group of seniors are motivated. They want to be the ones to leave a legacy. Chris Abrams said yesterday that he knows this will be a team that is remembered for the years to come, and I think that they're going to prove it tomorrow.
We've talked all year long, something to prove actually there, about the 2013 Shades. The 2013 season ended here in Dallas with a victory over an OSU team. Now they're playing a different OSU team. The score of that game was 41-31. Not sure it's going to be that high scoring. I do agree with all of you. I think Missouri, this game just means more to them. I think that the motivation factor is a high factor here, and as Brady Cook and as the guys told us yesterday, they came here to win a football game. They're not here to play kickball or just spend the time in Dallas. They're here to get a victory. I think that's what they're going to do. Remember, Missouri 31-21, clean sweep across the board of us picking the Tigers to beat the Ohio State Buckeyes. That is our show remotely. Huge shout out to Adam Runge helping and shoot this great press style Tiger Kickoff Show. We might be back next week for a little recap show, kind of depending how this game goes. Stay tuned potentially for that. Huge shout out to these guys setting up an impromptu show here in Dallas.
Shout out to you, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for
shout
being
out
our
to you,
host.
Terry. Been at hard work doing the 10 p.m. live shots over at KO.
Two more to go.
I was
Six.
gonna
Two
say,
more to go.
a lot of work off the stage here for Harry. So
This is the fun part.
Yeah.
We appreciate all our viewers also. Hope you guys enjoy the Cotton Bowl on Friday night. Have a happy New Year. We'll see you next time on the Tiger Kickoff Show.
Sweet.